We have a mridanga player here. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamutira Vanachari Jamutira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrtikacharya Ashto Tarasati Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrtikacharya Ashto Tarasati Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dharma Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Dharma Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dharma Ki Jai Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Ganga Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Sankirtan Jagna Ki Jai Brihamadanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai The Transcendental Lordship Shri Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Astasaki Ki Jai Shri Prahlad Nisringa Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 6. Chapter is entitled Conversation Between Narada and Vyasadeva. And we're on text 19 today. Dridrikshushthadaham bhuyaha pranidaya manoridhi Vikshamanopi napashyam Avichipta ivatura Idrikshustadaham bhuya Pranidaya manoridhi Vikshamanopi napashyam Avichipta ivatura Idrikshustadaham bhuya Pranidaya manoridhi Vikshamanopi napashyam Avrijjipta ivatura. Please chant. Anybody else? Didrikshu, desiring to see. Tat, that. Aham, I. Bhuya, again. Pranidaya, having concentrated the mind. Mana, mind. Hriddhi, upon the heart. Vikshamana, waiting to see. Api, in spite of. Na, never. Apasham, saw him. Avrityipta, without being satisfied. Eva, like. Atora, aggrieved. Oh, here it is. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I desired to see that transcendental form of the Lord, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore, and thus, dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved. Please repeat. I desired to see again that transcendental form of the Lord. But, despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart, with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore. And thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved. Purport. There's no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. It completely depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. We cannot demand the Lord to be present before a vision, just as we cannot demand the sun to rise whenever we like. The sun rises out of his own accord. So also the Lord is pleased to be present out of his causeless mercy. The age of technology. One should simply await the opportune moment and go on discharging his prescribed duty in devotional service of the Lord. Narada Muni thought the Lord could be seen again by the same mechanical process which was successful in the first attempt. But in spite of his utmost endeavor, he could not make the second attempt successful. The Lord is completely independent of all obligations. He can simply be bound up by the tie of unalloyed devotion. Nor is he visible or perceivable by our material senses. When he pleases, being satisfied with the sincere attempt of devotional service, depending completely on the mercy of the Lord, then he may be seen out of his own accord. Didrikshushtadaham bhuya pranidaya manoridi vikshamanopi napasham avitripta ivatura. I desired to see that transcendental form of the Lord. I desired to see again that transcendental form of the Lord, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore, and thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umritam Gena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I have a humble request for everybody. My wife just sent me a message that a good family friend in America, actually a doctor, both he and the doctor and his wife they're both doctors, and he just left his body because of COVID. So could you kindly put your mask on? She's really concerned about me. If you've got your mask, please put them on. I know we got social distancing, but Jayapataka Swami one time had an announcement made that there was a study done. If someone speaks loudly from a distance, I think it was just something like 20 meters away, it's still the COVID infection can come. So anyway, I'll keep mine off because I'm the star of the show today, with the television. Does anyone ever wear their mask when they give class? No, I didn't think so. Didn't seem to be the standard. So if you can kindly do that, that would be good. Now I'm going to start out this class a little unusually. I'm hoping that by the end of this class, that each of you will be inspired to go out of your mind. Now that's American humor. Now going out of your mind in America means going crazy. Okay, so we'll explain that later. I just want to make sure everyone stays awake, okay? This will come out more clearly and it will connect with what's being presented in the verse today. The verse in purport. So we can work together to extract the principles that are being presented here that are applicable in our lives. There's some pretty amazing points. So first, let's get oriented. This is conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva. And in the previous, in chapter 5, Narada was explaining his past life to Vyasadeva. Really amazing experience. And actually, Srila Prabhupada, he says in a couple times in this section, I think it's 1.5.31, that we should follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni. So this is a way that we can, if we understand what's going on, then it will help us make advancement. If we understand his mood, how he's handling his own spiritual development, that will be a big assist to us. Now, in not yesterday's verse, but the day before, Narada, actually, this happened in the previous chapter, and text 28 of the previous chapter, Narada actually achieved praying. And there is a progression from Shraddha to praying, and there's these famous verses from the second chapter of the first canto that our acharyas track as different stages of our development from Shraddha to Prem. Shushushro Shraddhana Shah Vasudeva Kata Ruchi Shanmahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevana. So it's by the association of great souls that we develop an eagerness to hear the message of the Bhagavatam. And then Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. I won't go through all of them, but then, by that hearing, we start getting purified. And then Nashta Pareshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Our heart becomes pure and pure and pure. And then we go into Nartanavritti, and then Tadarajas Tamo Bhavas, Kama Loba Dayaschaye, and we become completely happy. A shakti, a ruchi, a shakti, and then evam prasana manaso, we get to the praying platform. So the acharyas track also what's going on with Narada in a similar way. They're very much paralleled. So here he is, he's achieved praying, and in this verse there's actually different levels, different stages of praying. And he gets the darshan of the Lord. That's the next to the top level, and then he just goes in complete ecstasy. It's a little hard to understand in the description that's given in the translation, but that's what ecstasy is all about. It's hard to put into words. It's just an incredible experience. And then Narada's he's feeling. In today's verse, he's feeling, oh my God, such this vipralamba bhav, so much separation. It's like, wow, so intense. It was just so wonderful to have this darshan and all this feeling of just togetherness with Krishna, and then he's gone. So we'll find out in the next verse. Speaks to him to mitigate his grief in the next verse, and then after that, I regret that in this lifetime you're not going to see me anymore. This is, because those who are incomplete in service, I'm not going to, preempt, the class giver the day after tomorrow, but just reading the verse, I won't go into explanations. Those who are incomplete in service and are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see me. But material taints? I mean, he's on the platform of a prema. So where's the question of material desires there? Interesting. You can think about this and hopefully you'll get a good answer. I'm sure you will get a good answer in the devotee that gives a class on that. But we can also see, because he's on the platform of prema, that this is Leela. This is a Yoga Maya Shakti, that's arranging all of this. Ultimately, it's for our well-being, for our benefit, so that we can understand, what to do with our own attempt to become pure and achieve Krishna prema. So, in the beginning of the purport, there's no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. So, it's safe to say that there's no mechanical process to advance in Krishna consciousness. They're parallel. So, this is interesting. Now, I think it's the counting back from the last translation of purport that Prabhupada did before he left this earthly Leela. About the 7th or 8th, he gives some really interesting information, can shed some light on what's meant by this mechanical process. So, first he describes how there's two words, avaroha panta and aroha panta. Anybody know what that means? Smart guy. Okay, so avaroha, ava comes that descending, like avatar, descends. So avaroha panta, panta means way, and so our process is a descending one. We just kind of have to wait for the mercy, as opposed to aroha panta, which is the ascending process. Mental speculators, even the Astanga yogis, they got their whole system, quite mechanical, and gradually they make progress, but by the strength of their austerities, it's not so much a mercy orientation. And, you see anyway, I think you get the drift of it. So our process is a descending one. We receive enlightenment, evam parampara praptam, through the parampara system. Comes down, we get the mercy. And if we have the right attitude, right mood, then it really works. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. So just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, render service unto him, and then what? The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he's seen the truth. That's how it works. Very simple, very, very basic, fundamental aspect of our philosophy, but sometimes we don't quite, apply it in every aspect of our lives. So we it's like, there's an analogy that Prabhupada sometimes uses, like if we're trying to advance, we're making, let's see, how's it go? Oh, if we're not doing the service, we're not serving the spiritual master, we're trying to advance, it's like shooting a gun with blanks, doesn't have any impact. So the service is so important, that humble service. And then things become alive. And then that mood of mercy is bestowed upon. That's what, look at the Bhaktivedantas. That's what, they could see. This young boy, 5 years old, he's working so hard to satisfy and please us. And so they just, ocean of mercy. It was like he got a tsunami crashing on his head. Just in 4 months, he made so much advancement. And then he had his way ahead. He understood what to do. And then his mother was bitten by a snake. 5-year-old boy, left all by himself. Anybody here a parent of small children? Okay, so you can imagine if, what it would be like if you just left, you and your wife just left your bodies, like you were walking where you shouldn't during the flood season and a cobra bites both of you. God, yet like years and years ago the flood was just coming in. It's probably about 15 years ago. I was looking out in my backyard and there were these gigantic cobras. They must have been like 20 feet long and they were all tied up in nets. It's like they were kissing each other or something. And there were the local people were flowing their cloth to get the mercy of the cobras, some kind of a custom. I couldn't quite relate to it. It seemed pretty dangerous to me. I stayed a long ways away from them. But anyway, get back on track here. So sometimes we think all we got to do, we just simply hear and chant. That's all, and we'll advance. But it's not a mechanical process. That's one of the main points that's being made here. And this was the instruction that Krishna was coming with. This is not mechanical. He was trying and trying and trying and trying. And then we'll see, what Krishna, how he instructs him in the subsequent verses. So is there anything that we can do? We're jivas, we have free will. Is there anything we can do to accelerate our spiritual progress? Think about it. Because it's important. Why are we here? Why are you all sitting here? We want to be devotees. We want to advance. We want to come closer in our relationship to Krishna. That's what it's all about. That's why Prabhupada established ISKCON. So how can we do that? So some interesting points in the purport. Oh my goodness. I had a calamitous day. Last night my printer broke, so I couldn't print out. And this morning I said, okay, Pancharatna lives right across, Pancharatna Prabhu lives right across the hall from me. So I said, Prabhu, could you print it? And I'm a little late because there were all kinds of crazy things happening in my life yesterday and the prepping. Would you be able to just print it out for me? Like at 8:45 at the latest? And so then I run over expecting it to be printed out. And his Word wouldn't open. His Word program, Microsoft Word. So he printed it and it's all like, printed it right from the download, I don't know what you call it, and so can't really read it all so good, and it was too late to try and get Word working. Technology, oh boy, it's really a blissful experience sometimes, isn't it? Okay, so where were we? So here, Prabhupada says he can simply be bound by the tie of unalloyed devotion, and when he pleases, being satisfied with the sincere attempt of devotional service by depending completely on the mercy of the Lord, then he may be seen out of his own accord. In other words, one may rapidly advance. Now, before I get into explaining to you how I'm hoping that each of you will go out of your minds. I'm going to give a few references to kind of set the stage. Here's one from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's pretty deep. Prabhupada quoted it to explain the difference between the chanting of a pure devotee and a neophyte. Namakara Bahirhaya Nama Nahi Haya. Merely reciting the external syllables of the holy name does not mean that one is actually chanting the holy name. Everybody got it? Okay, so we'll go into a little bit more. So that, that connects with the mechanical thing, but I got my pages mixed up here. I was going to do that later. Okay, but anyway. Okay, so here's another really famous verse that, this is after Sukadeva Goswami has described the incredibly negative aspects of Kali Yuga. I mean, look at what's going on in Kali Yuga right now, this pandemic, all over the world. People don't have jobs, they don't have money. But the Mayapur Institute has the greatest enrollment that it's ever had. People are coming in online. Why? Because they're, Krishna. It's actually what's described. There's, I didn't have time to put this in, but in 11.5.37, this is shortly after the description of the prediction of Lord Chaitanya's advent. And I won't go into all the details of that because time is short. And I want to make sure that each of you go out of your minds. There's a description of how Kali Yuga is the best of ages. Do you believe that? It's the best of ages? It really is. Because in Kali Yuga, we have such a powerful Yuga Dharma. And the Acharyas just make some incredible points that are used by Srila Prabhupada's disciples in the purport, that the suffering is so intense in Kali Yuga that people are forced to take shelter of the holy name. And when they do, they make incredible advancement. Of course, doing it, chanting out of distress, wanting freedom from distress, isn't exactly the way to get the full mercy of the holy name, but it's a beginning. Chaturvidha bhajante mam. There's 4 kinds of pious men that take shelter of Krishna. So, anyway, here we go. So this is Kali Yuga. Kaler dosha nadhe rajan ashti yeko mahan guna kirtana deva Krishna sha mukta sangha param vajat. So, Sukadeva Goswami just told all of these horrible things that have taken place, or that is going to be happening in Kali Yuga, but there's one brilliant aspect. And that just as one, let's see, where we go. There is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can be free from material bondage and be promoted to the Transcendental Kingdom. Anybody want to sign up for that? We're taking, anyway, you're already on board. Forgive me, I'm American. I got all this corny jokes. Okay, so in the purport, just as one powerful king can kill innumerable thieves, one brilliant spiritual quality can destroy all the contamination of this age. It is impossible to overestimate the importance of chanting Hare Krishna, especially in this fallen age. We've already entered the golden age of Krishna consciousness. This is one of the Puranas, one devotee, Ekanath, he does the BBT archives. He's in charge of that in America, and he found this reference, one of the Puranas about the golden age. We've already entered it. Prabhupada launched it, basically. Lord Chaitanya's coming, and then Prabhupada took it all over the world. So it's happening, and we can be expert instruments in the hands of the Lord if we, follow the process, not the mechanical one. Okay, so and then Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto, Binatvam Nama Namino. That's from the CC, Madhya 17. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. Anybody ever experienced any bliss when they chant? Please raise your hand if you have. My God, everybody? It's incredible. Okay, so it bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it's Krishna himself. Now, we have Janani Mas and Pankajangri, like so many years of serving the deity. They have complete faith that this is Krishna. This is Madhava, this is Radharani. Now, this verse describes that actually Krishna is not different than his name. So, Krishna comes in his name, it's like the same. It's like, Prabhupada, nobody had so much faith in the beginning, like Westerners, like in India it's a little different. But in the West, Prabhupada started, so just worship the deity and you'll begin to understand this is actually Krishna. But I sure didn't get that in the beginning. When I got my first book 4 years before I joined, it was the King of Knowledge, and there's a Shakshigopal, Shakshigopal pastime. The Brahmin that followed the deity that followed the Brahmin across India to bear witness. And the book just put me in ecstasy. It was like amazing, but I couldn't relate at all. I came from a Christian background. I couldn't relate to this. What's this deity walking across India? But we had faith, and the Prabhupada, he was giving us the best. So worship the deities, and then incredible reciprocation starts taking place, and we begin to understand, yes, this is Krishna. Same thing with the holy name. All right, so it is not a material name. Okay, so let's see. It's Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete and is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, there is no question of its being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. Yesterday, we were supposed to have the TOVP, the temple, supposed to have a very honored guest, Amit Shah. He's the Minister of Home Affairs for all of India. Big man. And so everything was so well prepared, a huge signboard from the TOVP. I usually do most of my sadhana in the samadhi, and boy, the samadhi was just like amazing. And then he didn't come. But just imagine, we've got a very important guest coming to visit our home. So what do? You fix everything up. You make everything really nice for the guest to come. And so every morning, we've got an important guest coming, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his name. So we need to get ready. We need to be, we've got to be proper hosts. So a lot of devotees, they'll chant, different shlokas that helps them, be focused in the holy name, and they'll read. Here's a really nice book, Japa Affirmations by Mahatma. Powerful. It's kind of the condensation of many years of japa retreats, kind of the cream. And, a couple pages, 2 or 3 pages, I can read it between each round, and it's incredible, how helpful it is. So different things we can do to get ready to host Krishna when he comes to us in his holy name. And then, actually, before I go into this, there's another really nice quote that that's always stuck in my mind. And this is from the preface of Nectar of Instruction, the Upadeshamrita, where Prabhupada says, advancement in Krishna consciousness is dependent upon the attitude of the follower. Okay, so this is the key. It's not like our brute strength or, like we chant. we sit in one place, we don't move, and we chant all of our rounds. But it's the mood, it's the attitude that's there. It's the internal, our consciousness, how we're, here we've got the Supreme Personality of Godhead coming to us. So of course, when we come into the temple room, we bow down. We bow down, we have full respect for the Supreme Lord. And let's say I'm having a conversation. Atmatattva Prabhu invites me to his house. Okay, so I come over to his house. We start talking, and then all of a sudden he starts looking at his mobile phone. He starts texting people. He looks over here. He starts talking with his wife. Completely ignores me. I'm about ready to hit the guy. Amitabh was not falling asleep. I woke him up with that one. So that's, so we got to bow down respectfully to the Lord and deal with him respectfully. We can't just be, letting our mind going all over the universe and thinking about, planning for today and what happened yesterday and what this person did to me and how I'm going to do this to that person and blah, 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 on and on and on and on and on. That's the mind. Okay, are you starting to get a clue of why I'm hoping that you'll get out of your mind by the end of the class? At least during your japa. Anyway, so another thing that, let's see, time factor here, eternal kala. So that's, Radha and Krishna are fully present in the sound vibration. Fully present. And has anybody ever felt that presence? And Prabhupada said that we can feel Krishna's in his name. We can actually feel it. I mean, practically everybody raised their hands when they said, when I asked the question, how many of you have ever experienced bliss when you chant Hare Krishna? Practically every single one of you. Some of you were playing hard to get with me, but I think all of you wouldn't be sitting here unless you experienced that. But it's, and here what Narada is describing, after he got the darshan, and then all of the ecstatic feelings that he went through. I mean, we get sneak previews of that with the bliss that we experience on our neophyte platform. And as we progress, it's an upward spiral. More bliss, more pleasure to Krishna. Krishna's pleased with us. We get more pleasure. There's a really nice quote. God, I don't have the exact reference, but I think it's Ahmedabad Bhagavad Gita class 74, where Prabhupada gives an analogy about how the king has so many servants. And the job of the servants, each servant is to please the king. And when the king is pleased, then the servant is pleased. Okay, so when our mood is one of pleasing Krishna, then we're pleased. That's the mood. I mean, just in a really succinct form, when our whole life is dedicated, our japa, we want to please Krishna by chanting his holy name. This is a verse that I discovered after I'd been a devotee 11 years, and it's kind of the foundation of devotional service. I attended my first VIHE Gurpurnim semester. It took place right after the Christmas Marathon. It was in January. Did they call it Gurpurnim? Yeah, I think they did. It was the Kartik semester and the Gurpurnim semester. This was back in 1989. And Giriraj Swami was giving a lecture. It was the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And it was basically the CC quotes from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Because a lot of what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami did was take Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu verses and he incorporated them in the CC. And so there's one verse which is the foundation for the nectar of devotion. Anybody know what it is? Give you 7 pieces of burfi if you get the answer right to this one. Parivashana. Sometimes some ISKCON scholars call it the Parivasha Sutra of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But Gopi Prandan, he said, no, it's not. Acharyas don't say that. But quite a few, I've seen this in several books by different sannyasi gurus. Okay, if you don't know it, please learn it. It will help you tremendously. Anyabhilashita sunyam jnana karmadinarvitam anukulyena krishnanum shilanam bhaktirutama. When first class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires, knowledge obtained by monistic philosophy and fruit of action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably, as Krishna desires. As Krishna desires. Is there anything more to it? Did I get it all? I think so.
Free from karma. Free from karma.
Oh, yeah. That's the anyabhilashita sunyam jnana karma. Yeah, it's free from speculative knowledge and fruitive activities. Okay, thank you, bro. Old brain here, sometimes. That's one of my favorite verses. So, this favorably, serving Krishna favorably, but not as we think is favorable. Like one time, at 26 2nd Avenue, Prabhupada was in the middle of a lecture. And Lower Manhattan, anybody ever been in Lower Manhattan in New York City? Besides me here? No? Okay, so that's where kind of like homeless people live. It's like, in America we call them bums. And so this old bum came staggering, and most of them are alcoholics. And so he came staggering in the front door of 26 2nd Avenue with a roll of toilet paper. And he took it in and put it in the bathroom. Okay, so Prabhupada commented that his devotional service has begun. Now, it's not exactly, probably what Krishna desired the most, but anyway, it was a start. Okay, so, Prabhu, before you leave, I just want to check in. Are you out of your mind yet? Because we're getting to that point, Okay. So feeling Krishna's presence, this is important, and here's a really nice one. You know that in the Harinam Chintamani, this is a conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Haridas Thakur. There's this point that's made that Krishna says that the greatest jewel, the most valuable jewel in my treasury is the holy name. And the explanation is because the conditioned souls, when he chants the Lord's holy name, he reawakens his relationship with Krishna. And this is what Krishna wants the most. He wants us to turn back to him and love him again. Talk about mercy. Krishna loves us dearly. You can look back at your lives, all the different arrangements that he made to bring you to Krishna consciousness. So the same thing as that same loving mood is there in his coming to you in the holy name. He's going to be personally present. But not if it's chanted externally. I mean, Narada Muni was just like, amazed at the darshan that he got of the Lord. But we also have darshan every day when we chant japa. There's a verse, Smartavya, the 9 o'clock bell rang. Okay, Prabhu, out of your mind? Just check, you're out of your mind? Okay, good. Just checking, making sure. Okay. The bell's ringing, so I'm in trouble. All right, so I lost the train of thought there. What was I going to say? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, so. And so it can be our greatest treasure too. Because we get what? Okay, so I was talking about how Narada got the darshan, so we get the darshan. But it depends upon our attitude, our mood. And this is something that we can actually cultivate. I'm not chanting Hare Krishna to be blissful. I'm not chanting Hare Krishna, although that may happen, but that's not the motive. My motive is to please Radha and Krishna. I mean, Pankajanga and Jananivas, they're on the altar every single day. And for how many years? 50 plus? 52? 3? I forgot to put my hearing aids in.
Almost 50.
Still can't hear it.
Almost 50.
Almost 50, okay. That's pretty good. So, I mean, that's pretty good. It's like amazing. And so each of you for many years have also been serving the holy name. I hope you've been serving it, but you got to improve. We all got to. And how do we improve? It's not by, some mechanical process. It's a change of heart. Okay, so get out of your mind and get into your heart. It's a heart exchange, one of love. Krishna, I just want to be, okay, so now, the mind is, what is the function of the mind? It thinks. You've got all these thoughts going all the time. And that's what drives us crazy during our japa, because we're oftentimes inattentive. So, the heart, that's feeling. Prayer is like a feeling. Now, Prabhupada in his famous Hare Krishna mantra address, the chanting of Hare Krishna is like the genuine cry of a child, of a baby for his mother. Do you remember when you were little? I remember when I was like, I think 4.5 years old, I was riding my bicycle and I fell off the bike and my head hit the curb, it's like along the side of the road. I got a big cut on my head. Oh my God, I was crying like a baby for his mother. It's so intense, but it was a feeling. I wasn't thinking about, well, maybe I should cry now, do this, and no. So that's, this kind of feeling. That's why Prabhupada used that description. And the acharyas, they describe, there's a whole bunch of acharyas, a whole bunch of descriptions of how our access to the holy name is by crying. So the feelings, please Krishna, but we don't think it, we feel it. I want to be with you. Please, I turned my back on you. Let me come back to you. Please. Take the anarthas out of my heart. Please. There's one interesting quote from the Bhajan Rahasya, which is like Thakur's commentary on Harinam Chintami, where he says that one who fails to try and free himself from anarthas does not get the mercy of the holy name or meet with success in life. And in the next verse, he says, on one's own, one can't free himself from anarthas. But if he cries to the holy name for several days, the holy name will remove all the anarthas from his heart. Okay, so let's see. I think we should stop here. But we'll open the floor for any reflections that you may want to share, or questions, or chastisements, comments. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you for keeping your mask on the whole class. I hope you're still alive. You haven't suffocated. Huh? No. Oh, it's a Bai. God, I didn't even recognize him. No, I'm Bai since he was that tall. Now he's about almost 7 feet tall.
Thank you for the class, although I did come from late.
That's okay. We still love you, Bai.
I don't want to make an excuse to call.
Now you got to talk really loud because I forgot my hearing aids. It was such a rush this morning. I was in danger of being late for the class. Go ahead.
I just found a verse from Bhagavatam that says in the 6th canto, chapter 2, text 14. So I just wanted to say that
close to the mic.
The verse, one who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins, even if he chants indirectly to indicate something else, jokingly for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. I just like to maybe hear what's...
Okay, so this seems to be like a Shastric contradiction, right?
Yeah.
This is the Ajamil pastime. He's crying for his son, Ryan. You know, and so the holy name is extremely merciful. So like even in America, they have these bowling alleys, and they have the names of the bowling alleys oftentimes are Bolarama, because you got Rama in there, right? So there's some purification. There's no question about it. There's maybe quite a bit of purification. But if we chant the holy name, if we chant Shuddhanam, this would be, Namaparad, not even Namabas. Namabas, we're trying to become free from the defenses. And then there's Shuddhanam. Shuddhanam is like, that's what really connects us with Krishna, really connects us with the holy name when we're chanting in that mood. And it's basically a mood. Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanena manadena kirtaniya siddhahari. So Ajamil got incredible mercy. And, this is Leela. Let's see what I don't know, that was a really good question, Abai. You got 5 stars next to your name for that one. It's a tough one to answer. So, any ideas? We stumped the sadhus here. What? Want to speak? Huh?
Getting free from sins is not such a big deal.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's a good answer. Yeah, that's not a big issue. And the big issue is developing love for Krishna. Getting this full mercy. Really good. Smart. So smart, what I tell you.
Another question.
Okay, go ahead.
We're talking about getting out of the mind and into the heart. I thought the mind and the heart were synonymous.
Sometimes it's like that, but we're using this because generally speaking, something heartfelt feelings, there may be some English language, we're not Sanskritists. So, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness, he didn't say, despite my attempts to concentrate on my mind with eagerness, to view the form again. So feelings are here and thoughts are here. So that's the distinction. The thoughts, we may be thinking all kinds of ways that we're going to improve our japa, but then it actually becomes an attentive japa. But if we're feeling, Krishna, please help me. And it's a feeling, there's like, when I bang, I still got the scar on my forehead from falling on the curb when I was 4.5 years old. So we're feeling these strong emotions of desire, of wanting to please Krishna. Please let me please you. Please let me do service. Please empower me. I remember the first time I really discovered, not the first time, but it was like an amazing experience for me. I was about a year, maybe a little over a year in the movement, and I was on a traveling Sankirtan party. And this was in the New York Temple, probably 78, something like that. Maybe 79, I think it was 78. Yeah, it was 78. And we had 4 vans, and because we were brahmacharis, the vans were all saffron colored, okay? And we linked up at night with a saffron colored motorhome. It's, like a home on wheels, a kitchen, a bathroom, bedroom, the whole thing. And there was a Prabhupada disciple, a senior devotee, that would stay with the motorhome, and everyone would come together. We would sleep in the vans, and then I'll tell you a little interesting pastime from those days. Each brahmachari had 2, that would be 4 liters or 1 gallon jug of water. They would have 2 of them, okay? So then we all had to get up by 2 a.m., okay? And we would use 1 bucket, or 1 jug of water to soap up with, and the other jug to rinse off with. Okay, that was our morning shower. We were in traveling saying, we find some place in the woods or behind like a big supermarket or something when no one was awake. And then we would get into chanting our rounds. And then with the motorhome, we would chant the rounds all together. And at that time, Ramapad Swami, he was a brahmachari, and he was a temple president, and he came out to join us, stayed overnight, and was there for the morning program. So we'd all be in the motorhome, we had Mangal Arti, and then we would chant our japa together, and then we'd have Guru Puja and Bhagavatam class. So during the Bhagavatam class, he made some comments. The verse was from the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto, and I don't know which verse it was, but I knew it was from there, the whole progression of spiritual advancement from Shraddha to Prem. And he was talking about how he had noticed that during the japa session, some of the devotees were practicing dive bomber japa. And some were practicing radar japa, looking at the cook, looking over here, obviously not paying attention. So, and he stressed that this was the most important thing in your life, is to chant your japa, good rounds. So that I realized, hey, I haven't been chanting good rounds. So the next morning, I got up, and I was just so determined. And I chanted, I think probably those were the best rounds I'd ever chanted. And if you were like maybe half a mile away from me, you probably could have heard the rounds, because I had to chant louder than my mind. This was kind of the formula that Prabhupada gave us, and my mind always really loud anyway. So, and then when I got out on book distribution, it was like amazing. I met every single person I met, practically speaking, was like the best person I meet in 2 or 3 weeks. And I did 3 times what I'd ever done before with book distribution. Now, obviously the next day, I tried to do the same thing. And the same thing happened. It was like such an empowerment. So that's one thing. I mean, we don't do it out of a fruit of desire. heart. We do it to try and please Krishna. But that's one thing that happens. It empowers service. Okay. How did I get off on that tangent? I don't know how I did that one. But is there any other points or questions? I'm completely out of my mind now. You got a question? So go ahead. Oh, she's asking me whether I'm out of my mind. Yeah, I'm definitely out of my mind. Okay. All right, thank you, Bruce. Okay, any other points before they lock me up in the insane asylum? Okay, so out of your minds and into your heart. Okay, that's the formula. And I don't know, I had about 40 of these and I gave all of them away, and I had to borrow this back from Dr. Megan because I'd given her one. And Aditi, she usually is here, but I think with the pandemic she might be in Vrindavan, but she's kind of the supplier of Mahatma's books in this area. So, but it's really good, really help you get out of your mind. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Mataji.
We neglect the thinking part and concentrate on the feeling.
What's that?
Thinking, feeling, and willing.
Yeah, just feel.
Go to the feeling part, not the thinking part.
Yeah, feeling. Yeah, and that, the thinking's all done before by reading Shastra, and just checking in with Prabhupada in a big way. We're fully fortified not to let the mind go crazy. Anyway, thank you, Ropi.